Well, it's week 34 of the golfing calendar, and today, what a view. We are live at the Albert Park driving range in Melbourne. It's an absolute ripper here, so a couple of wines and a chat about golf. Yeah, life's pretty good today. Now, here's Nick O'Hearn and Mark Allen. This is Talk Birdie to me.
Well, big voice, you weren't exactly right. It used to be known as the Albert Park driving range, but these days it is Melbourne Golf Park. It is looking an absolute treat. If you haven't been here for a couple of years, you will not recognise it on your next visit. It looks sensational. Nick, good to see you.
Good to see you, Mark, and a big thanks to the team here, especially Craig Spence, in getting us the gig here this week.
The 99 Australian Masters champion, who will ever forget the 6-iron to the last. That was one thing. But the hug of Greg Norman, the big cuddle when Greg just didn't know what to do. Greg had his hand out ready to shake hands, and Craig just went in and gave him a big hug.
Went in for the big embrace.
Oh, what a star he was, Craig Spence. David Tapping, too. Last time I saw David Tapping, who runs this joint, he just shot 6 or 7 under at the Box Hill Pro-Am, so he can play as well as run this joint.
Yeah, he certainly can. He's obviously hitting more balls than he is working behind the desk.
Yeah, I think that might be an issue. Anyway, Melbourne Golf Park, come on down, have a look at the new place, get yourself a pizza, TrackMan on every single bay. You're not going to be disappointed, folks, not one bit.
Now, with that TrackMan, you were saying there's a central post out in the middle there that controls all the bays.
Every bay goes from that one little square up there.
Okay, because if there was a lot of me here hitting balls, everyone would be aiming at that post, trying to knock that post out of the ground.
Little 5-irons, little low 5-irons.
Nothing like a target.
Hey, can I tell you this? I know we've got a stack of golf to talk about. There is a stack to talk about with what's going on in the world. But this morning, I got fitted for a new set of irons.
Did you?
And I'm 54 years old. I reckon I must have had 50 sets of the clubs in my lifetime. Must have. And I'm still like a little kid.
You were buzzing.
I'm so excited. It's so ridiculous. The last set of clubs I got from Titleist, they're the T100Ss, and I love them. The new ones that I hit today, they're called T150s. They're just a tiny little bit bigger.
Beautiful.
And they were absolutely superb. They haven't been launched yet, but they're coming out soon.
Where'd you get fitted? At the factory?
I got fitted at Spring Valley Golf Club. So
nice.
It's the Titleist fitting mecca there. So
beautiful.
If you're lucky enough to come to town, make sure you get down and do it that way.
So if you've had 40, 50, whatever sets of clubs over your journey, when you get a new set, what do you do with the old ones? I'm assuming you haven't got 40 in the garage at home.
No, I've got about 3 left at home. But normally, I just give them away. I always give my clubs to somebody, some of the juniors at the golf club. I reckon if I've had 50 sets of clubs, I would have had 100 putters in my lifetime. I've only got 3 at home, so there's 97 have been given away. But that's the way to go.
Well,
what do you do?
My father-in-law was left-handed,
okay.
so I used to give them all to him. But my dad, he was right-handed, so he was pretty annoyed, obviously.
So what did you do? What did you do with all your clubs? What did you do?
I'm about the same. He got a lot of them. I donated some to charities and things, auctions, but I've still probably got a good dozen sets at home somewhere. Yeah,
plenty. They're just sitting there.
Yeah, they're sitting there. You know what I've got the most of is wedges. Because I used to go through my Titleist Vokey wedges, I'd probably get them every 3 to 6 months. I get a new set. I only had 2, a 54 and a 60 degree. And those 2, I must have at least 100 Vokey wedges sitting at home.
Yeah,
it's incredible. And they're all rusted, and I bring them out every now and then. Oh, this one feels good. Oh, that one, that looks nice. I'll bring that out. But the grooves wear away after time.
Do you know that every once in a while you'll be sitting at home watching Fox Sports and the Tiger Woods series comes up. When he talks about his equipment, there's an equipment episode. So he did about 20 episodes, which was fantastic of him because he did give a lot. And he only ever speaks about the way he plays. But in this one particular episode where he talks about his clubs, he gets a new lob wedge and sand wedge every week.
Every week?
Every week.
Wow.
So they got to a point where they're just, they're absolutely perfect. I mean, they might as well be made in a 3D printer sort of stuff. But he just wants the sharpest grooves every single week.
Well, and why wouldn't you? I mean, and the thing is, out on tour, you can basically have whatever you want. I'm a ping player. You've known that for many years. I was what was known as their least maintenance player on tour.
I believe that.
The only time I ever went into the ping truck was I went in there each week out on tour, and I get some caps.
Yeah.
and I just have a chat with the guys and say, hey, how's it all going? And about every 3 months or so, I'd get regrips. And then every 1 or 2 years, I might go in and say, look, no, got a new model coming out. Let's have a look. Let's get fitted, and away we go again. But other players, who was the highest maintenance player on tour was Jeff Maggott.
Yeah.
Every week he would go in and get his lies and his lofts looked at. It was unbelievable.
It's funny you mention this. Now, I know somebody who works or used to work in those Ping trucks.
Yeah.
His name was Christian Pena.
I know Christian, yeah.
Christian
He
Pena.
just sent me my latest putter.
Are you joking?
No, he's still over there.
He's
He's not in the truck. He's,
Christian Pena and I, we played together on the Nike tour a million years ago. And he was the nicest bloke.
He is.
Not a bad little player, but the nicest fella. And it was funny, I was walking past the Ping truck at Augusta about 10 years ago, and I'm walking past, and he trundles down the stairs. I looked at him and said, Christian, what are you doing here?
Funny who you see.
It was me. So he made that transition from player to the Ping truck.
Yeah. Well, who probably hasn't been in the Ping truck lately, or maybe he's been in there a lot? Viktor Hovland.
What about the back nine?
How was that?
8 threes and a 4 on the back nine to shoot 28, and the 4 was a birdie. It's not like he birdied every single par 4 on the back nine and the par 5 and par the 2 par 3s.
Wow.
8 threes and a 4 to win, Nick. Now, I understand a low 9 every once in a while in the middle of a tournament.
Sure.
I don't understand 28 to win a tournament. That's a different wavelength. And can you explain it?
Hey, if I could.
To get into that zone.
Yeah, I can explain it. I can't do it. So well, not that often anyway. I've had a 28 once.
Yeah.
But
to win.
Not to win. No,
to
that was in the
that
first
to
round.
Win.
Yeah. Well, it came to a point where, especially in this golf tournament, look, he was going to be into the following week, which is the Tour Championship, which is coming up this week now. He's out there to win this golf tournament, and him and his caddy, an Aussie, Shay Knight, who we spoke about the Aussie caddies. We'll get to that later on in the feedback, obviously. Now, the other thing is, I think Mel Baker might have, a couple other caddies on his Aussie caddies on his nose, as far as the highest paid Aussie caddy, because Cam Smith's caddy, he's an Aussie, Sam Pinfold.
Yep.
Shay Knight, who caddies for Viktor Hovland, he just had another win. Hovland hasn't missed a cut this year. 22 out of 22 cuts. That is impressive.
That right?
Although probably 2 or 3 of those events are no-cut events.
And it's the first year he's won twice, which surprises me. I thought he must have won twice somewhere else, but it's the first year that he's ever won twice.
Yeah, you would think so. But he's won 2 of the bigger ones, other than the majors, the Memorial and this golf tournament. But to your point, I think afterwards he said, look, this is the best round of golf I've ever played. And his biggest thing was he just stayed in the moment. Every shot, he was right there. He discussed it with his caddy, and it wasn't as though he hit it super close. He took advantage of the short irons when he did have them in, hit those close, but he did hole some good 15, 20 footers, and that's what you have to do to shoot 28 over 9 holes.
Well, for a long time, he's been the best iron player on the PGA Tour. The bloke he beat is leading the tour for driving, the shots gained driving. Scotty Scheffler leads that. And can I just, something I noticed watching it, his footwork has now gone to a whole new level. I mean, it was always Freddie Flintstone going 10-pin bowling, twinkle toes. But now it is off the... He's gone full Torval and Dean through the ball.
Fred Astaire now.
He has gone crazy through the ball.
Have you ever seen that Fred Astaire video of him hitting golf balls?
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's probably
so
a bit like that, actually.
That's what he looks like.
Yeah, we need to get that up on socials, Dan, with the YouTube. Look that up.
Anyway, Fred Astaire hitting golf balls.
Yes.
Yeah.
He does this thing where he does a tap dance to hitting golf balls. It is the most amazing thing you've ever seen.
In fact, I'll go further, Nick. It's one of the most beautiful things you'll ever see.
It is.
Dan, get ready to be happy because
He's got a good swing too.
It is superb. He does have a good swing. I reckon he was a member at Bel Air Country Club where they had the US Women's Amateur last week. Or 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. Did you catch any of the Cherry Hills US Amateur?
I just looked at the results. We had one lone Aussie make it through to the match play, Carl Phillips, but then he got knocked out. But then I kept an eye on the semi-finals, and there was a guy who made it through to the final. What was his name?
Dunlap won
Neil
it.
Shipley.
Shipley. What did you make of Shipley?
He looked a bit like Pat Perez to me.
Yes. I thought he was Pat Perez's love child. Wow. I really did. I mean, but the way he played, he's a very, very good player. But Cherry Hills, I ended up watching a lot of it. I love the FedEx Cup, and I want to talk to you about the FedEx Cup in a tick because At the start, I wasn't sure what they were doing the PGA Tour, but now I've changed my mind, and I really like it. But I watched a lot of the US Amateur at Cherry Hills, and that speaks volumes about golf. That you can sit back and watch kids play. Like you had the Fedex Cup on one channel, and on 3 channels up there, I'm watching US Amateur. But the production was sensational. They didn't skimp on anything. The golf course, there's so much history at this golf course. Now, there's 2 very, very famous shots that were hit in a US Open at Cherry Hills.
Okay.
Can you think of them? This is a pop quiz for you.
First one is Arnold Palmer.
Driving the first.
The tee shot.
Yeah.
Which US Open was that?
I think he won it.
Did he?
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's a very famous shot of a
Yes.
bloke he beat. And it
Okay.
happened on the 17th, and he's one of the biggest names in golf.
So what I'm thinking of, I didn't think it was 17. I thought it was 18. There's a famous shot by Jerry Pate.
Oh, yeah. Was that at Cherry Hills?
Well, I don't know. I'm going to have to look that up.
We'll have to look that
I'll
up.
have to look it up. But
But
I know.
if that was at Cherry Hills, that's a 3rd famous shot that's ever
Okay.
been hit at Cherry Hills.
Was it Gary Player? Did he hit one over the trees or
No.
something like that on 17? Okay, you go.
Ben Hogan.
Ben Hogan.
The 17th hole is a par 5 with an island green.
Right.
It's just an upside down basin in a pond.
Okay.
Ben Hogan hit a ball with a wedge into the water on the 17th and basically handed the tournament to Arnold Palmer.
Really? Okay.
And
Didn't
it's
know
one of
that.
these. Someone asked him, "Do you think about that shot once?" And he goes, "I think about that shot every single day." It's one of those shots.
Yeah.
So just watching the Cherry Hills tournament, just watching the golf course that he'd heard so much about, I hadn't seen it for a long time. It is amazing golf what you can watch. These days we're so lucky to be able to sit at home, watch 2 young superstars, hopefully of the future, playing golf. We saw that, the women's amateur as well last week at Bel Air. But to learn so much about the game, it's so unique. I just find it. If the commentators are giving you a little history lesson along the way, it's just another dimension that sort of shapes the game and keeps your interest, and it's very, very good. They did a great job.
Yeah, well, these amateur events, you're watching stars of the future, basically. I mean, when I was living in the US, they had certain college events, and I lived at Isleworth, and they had what was called the Isleworth Collegiate. And whoever won that event, pretty much 2 or 3 years later, was one of the stars on the PGA Tour. It was Jordan Spieth, Ricky Fowler, Colin Morikawa. Those sorts of players would come and they'd win the tournament. You'd go, okay, I'll keep an eye out for their name, and sure enough, here they are. Yeah.
What's that golf course like? I mean,
good. It's strong. It's about 7,600 yards from the back. That's the Tiger tees. They have 6 tees there. So they go Tiger, then they go Palmer, then they go, I think, Lewis, Chase, Isleworth, and something else. There might be Nicholas tees. I don't know anyway.
Where were the O'Hearn tees located?
Right in front of Tiger. No, I'm kidding.
Hey, just to finish up, Nick Dunlap, he won the US Amateur this year, so he's the 2023 champion. He's only the 2nd player ever to win the US Junior Amateur and the US Amateur.
Wow. I know who the other one is.
And the other one's Tiger Woods,
Yeah.
and he won both of them 3 times each. Is that one of the most amazing things you've ever seen in golf, that someone like a player was capable of winning 3 US Junior Amateurs, followed directly on their tail of 3 US Amateurs, when they're all knockouts?
Well, yeah, that was the thing that I was thinking of, was they're all match play.
They're all
events.
match play.
So if someone gets hot, anyone can beat anyone.
Yeah.
So
No round robin at the
to win
start.
6 of those is just incredible. And then he took that obviously also into his professional career, and he's won a lot of the match plays as well. But for some strange reason, it never carried into the Ryder Cup or the President's Cup. Yeah.
So FedEx Cup, I mentioned it a little while ago. I'm all in now.
Oh yeah.
I really like it.
Okay.
I like the final series. I like what they're trying to do. I love the fact that they get it over and done with before the NFL season starts, and that helps with their ratings. And I'm not sure about the staggered start next week.
This week.
Thank you. I'm not sure about it in the Tour Championship because we saw a very strange thing happen on the last hole where Fitzpatrick had a birdie putt. Now, if he holds the birdie putt, he's got nothing to do with Scheffler
Hovland.
and Hovland. Nothing to do with them at all. But if he holds the putt, it's a 4-shot swing in the handicap in the Tour Championship. He didn't.
He missed it.
He hit a very good putt and it missed. And now Scheffler goes in with a 2-shot lead over Hovland, and it's basically a handicap from there on.
Yeah, Hovland had already won the tournament. As you say, Fitzpatrick had a birdie putt to finish outright second, which would have forced Scheffler back to third. Then Hovland would start at 10 under next week, and Scheffler would be at 8 under. Instead, it's Scheffler at 10 under, Hovland at 8.
All because of Matt Fitzpatrick.
All because of Fitzpatrick. Most bizarre scenario I've seen.
Really, really crazy.
But the staggered start, so do you want me to tell you how it goes, or you're quite happy with
No, but
that?
tell listeners.
Well, the top five it's 10 under, 8 under, 7 under, 6 under, 5 under, and then they start grouping it from there. 4 unders from 6 to 10, and then I think people who finish 11 to 15 would be 3 under and so on. And anyway, if you're bottom of the field, the last 5 players, you start at even par, 10 shots back of Scotty Scheffler. So good luck.
And you got to play. You got to play well. And I did notice on our WhatsApp group, you sent through the money. Oh, now this is just off the charts. So if you end up winning this thing, you get 18 million US. Now, with the Australian peso where it is at the moment, that's close to 30 million Aussie dollars.
It is.
That's approaching 30 million bucks.
Crazy.
It is off the charts.
It's a good week.
Second is
6.5 for second.
so it's a $12 million jump to second.
12.5. Well, last year because Rory beat Scheffler, didn't he, on the last hole, and I think it was similar figures. Third is 5 million, fourth is 4 million, so on and so forth.
What about if you come 30th?
500,000, just a cool
bad.
$500,000.
That's no
That
worries.
works. Yeah. Plus your prize money for the actual tournament as well.
Yeah. Now, do you know why? I know why. I'm not asking you. Do you know why they've gone to the staggered start? There is a legitimate reason.
Is there? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you like it, first of all?
Do I like it? Well, I'm going to give you the reason why they've done it first and then see if that changes your mind. Years and years ago, there used to be 2 blokes holding 2 different trophies. One fella would be holding the Tour Championship trophy, and then you get the other bloke holding the FedEx Cup trophy. And the PGA Tour thought this was confusing. So what they've done is they've given everyone a handicap, and then there's just one person holding the trophy at the end of the week. Whoever wins this wins the lot.
Yep.
So the Tour Championship, they've done it. So I like the idea of just having one trophy at the end of the week. I just don't know about the handicap system at the Tour Championship. So I think if I was making the decision, I'd just somehow have to separate who wins the Tour Championship and don't have them in the same picture. You know, you don't have to have both of them in the same picture. You go and say, well, okay, well done for winning the Tour Championship, Nick O'Hearn. Here's a cheque for $10 million. Congratulations.
Yep.
And then brush you aside and then walk over here. And here's Scotty Scheffler with the FedEx Cup and the $18 million cheque, and you're our champion golfer of the year on the PGA Tour. That's how I'd do it. But I do understand what they're trying to do.
No, I like the idea of the one person up there at the end. I've heard different scenarios. I mean, something I'm kind of in favour for because I've always enjoyed match play would be to make the Tour Championship a match play event, but you'd cut it down to, say, the top 8.
Yeah.
I'd say the top 8 from the whole year go into it, and then 8 plays 1 and so on, and hey, whoever wins. But I'm not sure the number 1 player would be happy about that.
No, the number 1 player wouldn't be.
Yeah, I know. So it's a tough one to solve how they go about it. I'm not a big fan of the staggered start either.
But did you play in the FedEx Cup when it was a 4 tournament?
Yes.
What do you think? Because it's now just 3, and I think it's been done basically for Tiger, because Tiger used to just skip one.
Yeah.
He was always so far in front, he'd just play the first one, skip the second, and go from there. What did you think when it was 4 tournaments to find out who the champion is?
Yeah, it was. I love the 3 event scenario, and even with 3 events, I mean, Jason Day's form hasn't been that great over the first 2, and he still makes the Tour Championship.
He snuck in,
yeah, and he hasn't played that well, to be honest. So that's why guys would skip an event, because they thought, well, I don't really need to come here. I'm 1 already. I might slip back to 2, but that's fine as well. So no, I don't think they need as many events. I think 3's probably ideal. Around that number is good. A similar scenario has happened this year also with the Corn Ferry Tour. They've changed the way they're doing it as well.
Is that right?
Yeah. So Corn Ferry Tour is obviously the secondary tour in the United States. So what they did last year was the top 25 guys at the end of the season got their card.
Done.
And then they'd play a 4-series event called the finals.
Yeah.
And then they take 25 guys from that would also get their card. So in essence, there was 50 cards up for availability. If you got your card from the top 25 off the normal season, you could then sort of improve your ranking basically, if
Right.
you went into the final series. Because he had a 1 through 50 scenario happening.
And in that fall series or the final series, the players who finished outside the FedEx Cup also joined those players, didn't
Correct, yeah. 126 to 200 on the PGA Tour would then play with the Corn Ferry Tour players.
they? Right. And now the finals to get through to the next season.
Yes. So now what they're doing is they're actually just going, right, we're going to play a full season. Top 156 on the Corn Ferry Tour, they play the first final series event.
Right.
Okay, and then next week is 144, and then 120, and then the final one is top 75. They play the final event on the
Right.
Corn Ferry Tour. So there's these still there. So they have 4 events now. From that top 75, I believe the top 30 from the money gathered from all those get the cards. That's the way they're going to work it.
That sounds better.
Yeah, it's
Does that sound better? Yeah.
It does. I like it. I like it that way. That way, there's not 50 cards because a lot of these guys were, had conditional status almost, and they weren't getting all the starts that they wanted. So 30 is a good number.
Yeah. I think that's a good point, actually, because the conditional cards, you're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard play. It's a golf purgatory of professional golf. You're not getting enough starts to really cement your spot and somehow get into that top 50. But you're also not playing a full season. You've got to keep on going back and back and back and back and back to the seconds.
No, but they've developed this point structure around it all. I haven't read too in-depth into it, but that's basically the gist of it. So
2 guys on the bubble, just to round this off before we get to the turn here.
Yes.
Seb Straka, Jordan Spieth shot 1 over and moved into the top 30. He was right on. I think he was 31st at one stage during the third round. Seb Straka on the bubble. He's the 30th player. Did you see Thagala? Sahith Thagala? You see what he did?
Well, I know he finished 31. I didn't see what he did though.
He birdied 15. He birdied 16. He birdied 17. He comes to 18 inside the bubble and bogeyed it.
Oh, no.
And he's done all the hard work and bogeyed the bloody last.
He's had
to
some
drop out.
heartbreak, that guy. He still hasn't got that win, and oh gosh, tough one. But a great season for him nonetheless.
Okay, that'll do us on the front 9. Get yourself ready for a Viktor Hovland style back 9. It's going to be a beauty.
Like the podcast? Oh, maybe tell a friend. Drop them a text or share it on your socials. This is Talk Birdie to Me with Nick O'Hearn and Mark Allen.
Okay, I want you to get a pizza because we're at the Melbourne Golf Park, formerly known as the Albert Park Driving Range, but Melbourne Golf Park these days. You need to have one of these pizzas.
Okay.
All righty. Well, I'll set one up for when we
you
walk off 18.
Sampled one already?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
They're
Are they as
very
good
nice.
as the Domino's American ones?
No, they're not as good as them, but they're very, very, very good. Now, just while you've piped in, I'm glad you piped in with something stupid. Because
You're right.
Because, Dan, we checked out. Last week you made a claim that Minji Lee followed you on Twitter. Now,
I did a little homework on that.
we checked it out. It's not Minji Lee. It's a what do you call it? A fake account.
That's a fake account, yeah.
It's a fake account. Goodness me.
So I did go and have a look. Minji Lee's got 24,000 followers.
Yeah.
The account following me's got 48 followers. So I just looked at the name and said, the real Minji Lee. There you go. You know who I blame? I blame Elon Musk and that stupid blue tick.
Yeah, that's right.
That's who I blame.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
I apologise for misleading you.
That's fair enough.
You're not getting off scot-free here. You guys had homework to do for this week's show.
God.
Have you done your homework?
What was it? I forgot.
What was that?
What was the homework?
Well, the very fact you're asking me because you haven't done it.
I did it.
I
Did you?
did
it.
Okay,
But anyway.
Teacher's pet.
Well, hang on. We'll do Mark first then, because
Yeah.
he hasn't done it. Mark, your homework was to find out if anyone has ever scored 59 or better, 59 on the DP World Tour. Did you do that?
No, I didn't. But I'm guessing that it's never been done. That's my guess. But I
Okay.
didn't. Actually, I don't know for sure.
So, funnily enough, while I was doing my homework, I was thinking, well, what was Mark's homework? And then I thought, well, I'll have a look.
You are just a...
So,
Just
sorry
a
to say, Mark,
goody
but
goody.
you are not correct.
Someone shot 59.
Yes,
Who?
Oliver Fisher, 2018 Portugal Masters,
Well
shot
done, Ollie.
59. The only one to do it.
I don't know.
Ordinary effort from you, Mark.
Jeez,
Does that mean the courses on the European Tour are tougher than the ones on the US Tour?
That's a good question.
I'm not
I don't
sure.
know.
Nick, you got some homework too. You had
what was mine
to
again?
find out if Stuart Appleby's haircut is under control.
Yes, it's shorter again. Yes,
Is it back
no,
to normal?
Alana, I think, messaged Ash, and that has been confirmed.
Good.
Yes.
What would that message have said? How's your husband's haircut?
Actually, I think she might have seen it on Facebook or something like that. She
Okay,
said,
good.
Yeah.
Well, that's good because it was looking ridiculous. Stuart,
Well, you know.
I know he listens every week too. So, Stewie, thank you for cutting your hair. It looks stupid.
And you had another bit of homework, Nick, which was to
Yes.
find out. Oh, this is the Australian caddies one. Actually, on a serious note, this is going to be really interesting. So the question came last week: is there more Australian caddies on tour than Australian players on tour? And you're going to talk to Wilbur.
Yes, I spoke to Wilbur. He searched out to a good mate of his, Drummo, who's still caddying over there.
I know
in
Drummo.
Europe. You know, Alan,
Yeah, he's
Drummo,
been there for ages.
He's a ripper. He sort of gave us a bit of background on the European guys, the American ones sort of as well. I actually texted Stewie about it as well, but he was going to get back to me. I can't at the moment exactly say the numbers. It's touch and go. It could go either way, but looking at because I was going through, okay, who are the Aussie players and then who are the Aussie caddies that I know, and it's close. It's going to be very close, but I have to delay that a week to get the final numbers there. Okay,
That's
so-
starting to sound
No,
like
no, no,
my
I-
dog ate my homework.
No,
That's
not
what
at
that's
all.
starting to sound
I
like.
did your freaking
Yeah,
homework.
yeah. Hang on. That's pot kettle over there. I tell you what, Nick gets an A minus for his because he's
Okay.
nearly done it. You get an F.
Hey, I just said I didn't do it. And he's
I
giving
can
you the
name a lot of the
dog-eating
caddies that we've
homework
already.
story.
I can name some caddies if you want me to, say.
Don't worry about that. Come on, let's get to the results.
Results.
What do you got for us?
Okay, so we obviously had the BMW Championship on the PGA Tour. From an Aussie perspective, Cam Davis finishing 40th. That means he doesn't make it through to the Tour Championship. He went from 45th to 48th on the FedEx Cup standings. Jason Day tied 45th. So he went from 21st to 25th, but top 30 obviously
So
gets you through.
What's he going to start at, about 1 under or 2 under or
He
something
will
like
start
that?
at 1 under par.
Okay, so
Yeah,
9
only
back.
9 back.
9 back.
But if he has a hell of a week, well, he can take home 18 million big ones. Over in Northern Ireland, we had 2 tournaments going on at the same golf course. Sorry, 2 tours: DP World Tour and the LPGA, the ISPS Honda World Invitational. Englishman Daniel Brown. This is a great story. 5-shot victory over Alex Fitzpatrick.
Oh,
Matt's
Matt's
brother.
brother,
He's
yeah.
playing well, by the way. I think he's just secured his card for next year, which is fantastic.
He's
but
been playing sensational ever since the
Yeah.
Open, where he made the cut.
certainly, there was.
Wow.
He's been really doing some good stuff, beating his brother more often than
that's
not.
right.
Although Matt had a pretty good week this week,
He's
so
had a very good week.
took home a couple of mil, I'm sure. But it was his first win, and it was there was 7-year gap between starts on the European Tour for him. Amazing.
That's
So-
incredible.
But anyway, that locks his card up. On the same golf course, LPGA, Alexa Pano on her birthday won in a playoff over Esther Henselite and Gabriella Cowley. Had a couple of Aussies there, Karis Davis and Suo finishing tied for 34th. Corn Ferry Tour, Curtis Luck tied for 23rd. That was in New Jersey, and we spoke about the new format.
Yeah.
The Aussies to make it into the finals are Rain Gibson,
Yep.
Brad Druitt, Curtis Luck and Dimi Papadakis. So we wish them well over the next 4
Come
weeks
on,
to
boys.
try and get one of those 30 cards. Rain's the highest ranked Aussie going in at number 25 on the list.
Okay, that's good.
We had the US Amateur you mentioned, Asian Tour, Andy Ogletree,
He's
7-shot win. His 3rd win in these international series. A fantastic result for him. It was in England, in Newcastle.
That's
He
very
beat Ian Poulter by 7 shots, which is always a good thing.
He was in nowhere land there for a little while, and then Liv took him on, and he didn't do so well in Liv. But
Well, he'll be
he's
back on Live next year because
Yeah,
he's
he's
leading
going
that
well.
money list. Aussies
done.
did well there. Matt Jones tied 4th. Terry Pilkadaris, 11th.
yeah.
And tied 12th, Travis Smythe, Jack Thompson. We had Ken Duke win on the Champions Tour. Richard Green, another good week, tied for 12th.
Good on you, Greenie.
And locally, we had Northern
yeah.
Territory PGA Championship here, start of our PGA Tour of Australasia.
Yes.
Up at Palmerston Golf Club in Darwin there. 27-year-old New South Welshman Daniel Gale. He
Yep.
won by 4 from Chris Crabtree. Now, Gailey, remember, about a month ago, shot 60 to qualify for a PGA Tour event. Remember
Yeah, that's
that?
right.
The 3M Open.
And Holdy shot on the last hole.
Yes.
Slam dunked it in.
Incredible. So a great win for Daniel. That's his 2nd win here in
Yeah.
Australia.
And don't laugh, but I know Gale won the tournament, but it was a very windy day, and that's the fact. The last- no, I'm not. It actually was blowing a gale
Gee,
in the Northern Territory.
I'll tell you what.
on the last day. It's true.
If you were a commentator, there'd be a line
Oh,
right
it'd be
there, wouldn't
magnificent.
there? That would have been
It would
brilliant.
be magnificent. Anyway, it's time for some feedback.
So we've got a message from Brett, bboom76. He sent a photo in of a bottle of Penfolds Bin 28 Shiraz 2019.
Ooh.
Nick's got goosebumps.
And, and he said, "Hey guys, just thought of a suggestion of a nice drop for the lads. Love the show. Cheers, Brett." Now, I don't think he's actually saying he's going to give it to us. Okay. I think he's just saying you might want to go and buy that one. I had a look online; it's about $50. So
that's not too bad.
That's not bad.
Yeah, I think we're going to start bringing in a bottle for the show each week and have a glass. What do you think?
We'd be silly not to.
So, question for you: if you buy a bottle of wine, I know you're not a big wine guy, Mark, but if you buy a bottle of wine, everyone's got a range. What's the range you normally look at?
$50, spot on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't drink much wine, but you might as well drink something nice.
I always go to the cellar release section because they have the aged one. I like the aged stuff. So you get a variety. You can get it from $20 all the way through to $60, $70 at Dan Murphy's, for instance. But yeah, somewhere around that $30 to $50 mark, you find a great drop.
What was the Shardy you brought in?
That was a Shadowfax.
Now, that was very nice.
That was really good, yeah.
That was really good.
I might bring another Shadowfax in next week. Let's
do that, please. Do that.
I thought we were all tight ass. I tend to aim for about the $14 to $18 mark. So.
And the best part about Mark not liking
cask.
What's that old one?
The goon? The goon bag?
Not goon. That's Passion Pop. Remember Passion Pop?
Passion Pop, yeah.
Passion Pop from like 1985 or something.
Yeah.
We've also got an email here from Chris. Remember, Nick, you said the concern I've got with the live coverage is they only show the good things.
Yes.
They don't show the bad things. Chris has said, love the show, guys, but I need to pull you up on the live coverage. I watched it live, and they certainly showed Phil drop 2 in the piss off the tee on the par 3 and almost a third.
Oh, good.
They did show most, if not all, shots of the lead group. It's still golf, guys. Just embrace it.
No, I know they showed it live, but on the highlights package, they didn't. And that's what I was looking at, the highlights. And that was a huge factor in the tournament.
Nick,
I'm trying to back myself.
Yeah, Nick, have you noticed, Dan, he quite likes giving us the bad ones about live.
No, I know.
I think you're very much a live person, aren't you, Dan?
No,
by the looks of you.
Thanks, Chris, anyway.
That's okay. That's good. There's nothing wrong with that.
I don't mind it. Here's one for you, Marco.
Yes.
A couple of good ones and a whack.
Another whack.
This is on your masterclass last week on using a 9-iron out of a bunker.
Yes.
Oh, that was 2 weeks ago.
Oh, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Gata Max, or Gata Maxaz, or something. I can't even read this person's name. Fantastic to see Marco giving these lessons. Sensational tips from a sensational bloke. Obviously, he's never met you.
That's very nice.
Ginger's dad. Wow, a 9-iron. Thanks for the tip, Marco.
Yeah,
which is good
for the long bunker shots.
However,
yes,
on Nick's toe down chipping masterclass from last week,
yes,
Roving Bombers has written, "Get Marco off the camera. I couldn't see the drill." Now, I went back and had a look at that, and it was terrible camera work.
It was true. I apologise. I do apologise. And what you couldn't see is that Nick actually put that ball into an old divot, and he hit both those shots out of a divot with the toe down. And it's my fault that you couldn't see that, but go back and have a look at it on our YouTube channel.
Well, you can't see it.
But just watch
well, you can see me roll the ball into the divot.
Yeah, and just imagine that it's in an old sanded divot.
I think you've had a disgrace, I think, Marco. 2 more bits of feedback here.
Yeah.
Dazzler371, another great pod. Love Marco's top 5, but especially that description of Chucky Fowler's recovery shot. That was good.
It was the greatest ever shot ever played in golf, and I was right there to watch it.
So you guys do a masterclass each week, and we asked if other people have a tip or something they do that really works for them.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like their own personal.
I like it.
Masterclass.
I like it.
And Country Golfer Hot.01 has written in and said, and this is what he does, mentally giving up control of the putter is the secret. Bad putters and yippers' brains can't let the putter do the work. They need to steer it. So I grip the putter as lightly as possible, focus out of the hole for 90% of the routine. A consistent tempo is king.
That is one of the best tips you'll ever hear. And who was a Country Golfer?
Country Golfer Hot.01.
I bet Country Golfer Hot.01 could play, because that is a very, very good tip.
That first line, I think, giving up control.
Yes.
That's huge right there.
Yes.
And I think Country Golfer, you should putt for Scotty Scheffler.
Yeah, that's right. And you see Scotty's using a new putter?
He did.
Using a spider these days.
Missed a couple of short ones coming down the stretch, didn't he?
You got a very good eye for the misses, haven't you?
Well,
is he putting all right? We've critiqued Rory. Have you got a critique for the world number 1?
Well, I mentioned a while back, I thought his ball position was maybe a touch too far back and his shoulders are a little out of line. I think he needs to just get the shoulders a little better and get the right shoulder under more. But, hey, I think he's doing okay.
Yeah, he's doing okay. Open or closed, your shoulders?
I think they're a little open at the moment.
Okay. It is time for the top 5. So last week, Nick, we had a suggestion, and I think it's a good one, and I think you've done some more homework at the turn. The best short backswing golfers the world's ever seen.
The world has ever seen. Well, yeah, my memory doesn't go back too far, but yes, that is my goal this week. The top 5. Now, this is going to be a slightly different top 5. So you're talking the best short backswing.
Or short swing.
Could only think of 4.
Yeah.
So I've actually thrown one in there, the best short follow through.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
And the only reason I'm going to start at number 5 is because I saw her last week at the Women's Open Championship. Charlie Hull hit a couple of shots where her follow-through didn't get past her knees.
It was past her navel. It was just the shortest swing. Yeah, you're right.
It was, yeah. It was like she was hitting an impact bag. So she's my number 5 for one of the shortest follow-throughs. Now, on a normal shot, she does have a long follow-through, but she was hitting these little knockdowns, and it was very impressive.
Good for you for thinking outside the square.
Well, you know, outside that. Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much. Number 4, we saw him win the last couple of weeks, Lucas Glover. We're talking about how short his backswing was. Absolute ball-striking machine. Number 3, a local fella we know and love very well, Peter Lonard. You remember how short his backswing was?
Forearm jolt.
It was incredible. I remember Tiger Woods actually started asking him how he swung the golf club for a little while.
That's right.
He was fascinated by how he hit knockdown shots, but I think Pete was just hitting a normal shot.
Yeah, that's right.
It just looked like a knockdown shot.
When he came back, he had Ross River fever when he was young, in his early 20s, and he was out of golf. And then when he first came back in the golf, I was paired with him every second week. And he came back and he was really big because of the Ross River fever. And I thought he just couldn't move anymore because he was just so big. Like, you just imagine a big rugby union player or something. He was that big, huge. So I was watching him going, oh, the poor bugger. He's cooked. he can't move anymore, poor old Peter Lonard. But he just kept on flying. It was just one flush after another. And it's pretty soon I worked out, hang on a second, This isn't by because he can't move anymore. This might be a little bit of design in what he's doing. And anyway, he wasn't paired with me for much longer.
Well, he was coached by Gary Edwin for quite a long time, wasn't he?
Right.
And I think Gary's style of swing was a little shorter than most. Yeah. So anyway, he was a ball striking machine, that's for sure. So he was number 3. Number 2, going back a little way, remember Doug Sanders?
Oh,
he had such a short
that's
backswing.
a short swing.
You'd have to go back on YouTube to look that up.
And a complete flusher as well.
Yeah, he was. And he could make the best and worst dressed at the same time. He could make a top 5 for best short missed putts. Remember the one at the Open?
Had a lot of purple pants, different colour, different shades of purple. And different shades of purple footjoys as well.
An amazing character from what I heard. And number 1 has to be one of the best players in the world at the moment, John Rahm.
Had to be.
Very, very short backswing, but apparently it has a little bit to do with the club foot that he has. So that's part of the reason he has such a short backswing.
You know, he says that, but I've seen vision of him playing when he was a kid, and he didn't have a short
long swing.
So the club foot must have come into play when he turned pro or something, because as a junior he had quite a long swing.
Yeah, well, it's funny. I mean, people talked back in the day. It was better off to have a longer backswing, because when you get under pressure, what tends to happen is your backswing goes shorter.
Yeah.
So, but a lot of players these days are just proving that theory wrong, because they have such short backswings. I think less can go wrong in a way. So it actually works out well if you have the power. The issue of having a short backswing is somewhere you need to generate the power.
Yeah.
And obviously Rahm does that better than anyone I've ever seen.
Have you seen what he does in the gym? Quite often he posts what he does in the gym. It's hectic.
Is it?
Yeah, it's really, really good.
There's a lot of things moving around, I'm sure.
He's throwing all kinds of stuff at walls and doing all kinds of things.
Reckon you guys can carry off purple pants?
Yeah, just once a year I reckon you can get away with purple pants.
What about you?
Yeah, but October 31st, I think I could do it then. Halloween.
Yeah, you've got to have a white shirt and the white shoes, though, I think. I don't think
you would have to.
I don't think you can go any other way.
No.
You're going to have fancy pants. You just got to tone down the shirt and the shoes. We are here at Melbourne Golf Park. It used to be known as Albert Park Driving Range, and you've just got to come down and see this place. It is looking sensational. I'm going to do the masterclass on the back of where we are. So many people aren't members of golf clubs, and they don't have the opportunity to go and practice off grass. So many golfers practice off mats at driving ranges, just like here at the Melbourne Golf Range. Now, I do think if you hit too many short irons at the driving range, you can actually lose the art of taking a short iron divot. You can. You need to take a small divot, in my view, with the short irons. So if you're coming down the driving range and you're doing most of your practice here, you warm up with a short iron. And that is basically it. And you quickly move to like a rescue or a 5-wood or hitting a driver, but don't hit hundreds of balls with your 7-iron down. Just don't do it.
So you're saying something with more of a sweeping motion is better, or hitting it on the up. I mean,
that is right.
One thing I find with people hitting shots off the mats is it disguises a lot of mishits with the irons.
Correct. And this is the very important thing. You do lose the art of taking a divot and making contact the correct way when the ball's on the grass. So again, don't hit too many short irons off the mats. Warm up with them, no worries, I get it. But quickly moved to a 4-iron, to a hybrid, to your woods off the deck. A 5-wood is absolutely perfect to come down and practice with. You got an old 5-wood or something like that, and the driver's a no-brainer.
Beautiful. Well, I'll make sure my camera work is better.
Yes.
When I film you a little shortly.
It could hardly be worse. Why do you say it disguises mishits? Is that because of the fact that you take a divot when you're on?
Yeah, so what basically happens on the mat is if you catch it a little bit heavy, the club just bounces off the mat and springs into the ball, and you think, I think I hit that okay, because the ball seems to fly pretty good. But if you do it on the grass, well, the ball doesn't go anywhere. It just goes almost...
It's a fat shot.
It's a fat shot, basically, and it disguises the fats. The thins, not so much. Just the heavy ones.
Yeah,
so.
that is correct.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks to David Tapping and also to Craig Spence, the 99 Australian Masters champion, for letting us use this magnificent facility. There he is. Look at him taking photos. Just say hello, Dave.
Marco.
Just for people in Melbourne or people who are visiting Melbourne, it looks like the putting greens, the mini golf's about to open up. When's all that kick away?
Yeah, about 2 months ago if we had our way, but we're getting close now, yeah. So we think by next month we'll have the first 18 holes opened, and then we set about building a second 18 holes of mini golf as well. So
36?
36 eventually, yeah. It just means that if we have a kids' party, the public have still got a course to play as well. So.
And upstairs, what's upstairs there, I noticed?
So we've always had the 2 stories of driving ranges, but now you can walk off of the upstairs bay straight out onto a rooftop bar. So we've got a great view over the lake and towards the lights of the city, and looking over the mini golf as well. So come the summer, it's going to be the greatest place to hang out.
Can I just say that if you don't have a singles night up there during summer, you're not doing your job.
My wife won't let us have a singles night. That's the problem. Yeah, no, but so I definitely think it'll be a popular place for people of any persuasion. I'm going to go with.
Well, congratulations, mate. The place is packed. Everyone,
Yeah.
so many smiling faces. It looks fantastic, and we appreciate your support. Letting
Thanks
us
for
come
coming down, boys.
Absolute
Good to
pleasure.
see you.
And we'll catch everybody else next week.
Oh, there it is. That's Nick O'Hearn and Mark Allen's podcast, Talk Birdie to Me. Now, if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you hit subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts, and you'll never miss an episode. And if you can share with a friend, well, that'll be awesome too. Talk Birdie to Me's executive producer is Dan Bradley at Kaizen Media. Sound design, Daryl Misson at loudzebra.com.